Welcome to week 7 of Kappas Coaches Corner. This week we got Coach Kappas here coming off a victory last week over Central Catholic, a 21-0 shutout over Central. The Leopards are now 5-1, heading into the last 4 games of the regular season, sitting in the number 7 spot in Division II, Region 7. Coach Kappas, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
Fantastic to see you. I know it's one of the defensive guys' favorite things to do is to get a shutout, put no points on the board for the other team. Congratulations on that, Coach. Just maybe a little bit about Friday night.
Yeah, it was a good win. You know, it's you take victories however you can get them. We played solid across the board in terms of defense, offense, special teams. As a coach, you always worry about when your team is penalized a lot. That puts you in a lot of behind the stick situations there. But we overcame some penalties and were able to move the ball. I mean, we had 330 yards of total offense and held them to under 60 yards of total offense. So when you look at the stats, it was, the score doesn't really show that, and they did a good job of handling the flow of the game and playing really hard. Central did. And keeping it a game until the fourth quarter there when we were able to get a couple scores, but just proud of our guys to handle the adversity. That a lot of penalties and whatnot, but you got to go back out and play the next play. So solid game across the board, aside from the penalties, and we got to get back to the fundamentals and drawing board this week.
I know one thing. I was walking to the stadium Friday night. I was telling some people I was walking in with. It's a strange place to play. It's a weird place in terms of how you feel as a player and a coach because you're so far away from the fans, which also can lead to some of that, just a different feeling.
Yeah, it's a different place. It's the first time I've ever been there. They don't have a community that comes on Friday nights. So it's mostly the parents and the band parents, cheerleading parents, whatever. So it's not like a huge crowd you're playing in. We traveled really well though. Louisville had a pretty full side there. But yeah, you're right. The stands are really far back because the turf is so wide all the way up until the track. So it'd be a nice turf field to practice on every day because you have so much more space. But it is a little different atmosphere. But we came out a little flat. Tell that in pregame, our guys weren't kind of very amped up, and that's it's hard when you go play a team that hasn't won a game yet. It's a smaller division school, but. I think our kids settled in a little bit and just kind of grinded it out.
Yeah, and then Central, like you said, they came in with a game plan. They changed things up a little bit. They showed you a little bit of a triple option look under center.
Yeah, that was something we hadn't seen coming into this game. Even going back to last year, just looking at my notes, I was trying to kind of prepare for the what ifs defensively for what we're going to see offensively. And, we had not seen that really. It was kind of a veer option type look. So that was kind of fun to have to make those adjustments, and our kids handled those really well. So it was that's a hard off style of offense to play against. And, that's not really who they are. They don't live in that. So it was, kind of got them out of doing what they normally do too. So.
Yeah. All right, Coach. So we're going to dive into the game a little deeper as we go. Before we get there, I know you just came from a Little Leopard dinner tonight. Little Leopards put on for the coaches.
Yeah.
And then kind of talk about that, maybe the program, some things like that.
Sure. Little Leopards, they always have our staff over to one of their meetings when they do a big dinner where Mark Dwyer's wife, Ann, she caters in all the food, and it was a great spread. Mexican tacos, chicken tacos, pulled pork, stuff like that. So that's always a great treat for our staff to get a free meal, go over there and hang out with youth coaches and show them our support and our gratitude for their service to our community and to our program. This past week in Leopard football, 8th grade took a loss to Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy. They're a wing T team, which is always challenging to defend in middle school football. But we kept it tight. Guys are playing hard. Coach Atkins is doing a great job of developing these guys as whole people, right? And that was the goal as the 8th grade program to kind of bring a team together, get these guys playing together, develop them with the same values that we're preaching on Fridays. And so, that team's coming along. Seen a lot of development out of those kids.
Good.
Freshmen took a loss to St. Vincent St. Mary's on Thursday, which was a very talented team. They had a really good quarterback, really good set of skill. That was a great challenge for our guys to go out there and play a big physical team. We had a couple injuries, so we're thinning out a little bit at the freshman level. But guys stepped up, and guys got some opportunities that they may not have gotten early in the season. And that group's coming along, and they're a fun group to be around. They practice with us every single day, so I'm excited about that group moving forward. And then, of course, we had the game Friday night against Central. And then Saturday, we played Central at home in the JV game. And we were able to come away with another shutout victory, a 28-0 there. And some guys played really, really good football. So it's always fun to watch that group of sophomores really go out and take the field, show what kind of players they're going to be. And, get some of some of those guys that don't get much time on Friday nights to go out and perform.
Well, it just made me think about when you and I coached at Mount together. I remember how important JV football was at Mount, and I know you've brought that to what you do here with the JV and the pride that the coaches have on getting things accomplished on Saturday morning and putting in a great effort there. That's great to have those kids have success.
You can't neglect that. I've been seeing some teams where JVs just go out there and roll out the ball, and it's get some guys some reps. We're really trying to develop and prepare our men to be Friday night players because there's always a turnover every year, and those guys are going to have to step up. So spending the extra time with those guys, making sure they understand. Especially against an offense like Central, it's a little different than normal. So and those guys went out and executed the same type of plan that we had Friday night, and we're able to go out there and play well.
All right, we're going to dive into the game, Coach. We're going to get into some film clips that we've got. Of course, we have another enormous punt again on Friday night, which has become the staple that Gabe does. But, I think anybody that watched the game or read about the game knows that there were a lot of penalties.
Yes.
And so, Coach, I know you talked a little bit earlier about, getting things, moving smoothly on Friday night. Just talk to us a little bit about how a head football coach handles that kind of adversity during a game where there were several clips that I wanted to put on here that were big plays that came back. How do you handle that? How do you keep your team focused and not rattled during that?
Yeah, well, we always have a next play mentality, and no matter whether the last play was good or bad or someone messed up or someone did a great thing, it's, mental toughness is how quickly I can focus on the next play without the last play, whether it was good or bad, affecting my play, understanding my assignment, getting lined up, getting a good stance. And, sometimes, you got to have what we call a good mentality, right? Whatever happened the last play, if, you screwed up and let the guy sack the quarterback or I got a holding penalty or something like that, all right, good, right? Like, have you ever seen the Jocko little clip right there? So we always show those guys that, and it's, that's mental toughness 101, right? Okay, whatever happened last time, good. It's either going to make me better, right? Or I'm going to let it negatively affect me the next play. And so it was good to see our guys handle adversity, right? We control what we can control, right? We can't control what the officials are seeing or what flags they're throwing. They call it a very, very tight game. And, a lot of the penalties were very legit penalties. I know a lot of fans were chirping about a lot of the calls.
Well, it's what's interesting is you talk about, because, for me, I was in the stands Friday night, and the stands were getting rowdy about the calls.
Yeah.
But as I look back and watch the film again, I noticed that, and I saw it Friday night, but I watched it again. I didn't see any of the players throwing their hands up or acting disgusted.
Yeah.
I saw guys going back to the huddle, getting a play and coming back and trying to execute the next play.
That's mental toughness, right? And that's a rule of ours, right? Like, your body language is a billboard for how mentally tough you are. So if you're hanging your head or your palms up in and doing all that stuff, like, that does nothing for anybody. There's no good that comes out of that. So, that's what one of the things of the game that I'm, most proud about as their coach, that they've accepted that. And it says, all right, next play, let's control what we can control and go out to the next play. And, as the head coach, if I'm the one out there yelling at the referees and throwing my hands up and stuff like that, that's the example that that I'm setting for our players that it's okay to act that way. So, proud of our coaching staff for handling, penalties that you can call every play if you want to in high school football. There's always going to be a hold or something like that. But, the pace of the flow of the game was disrupted by all the penalties.
Right.
And it makes it tough to get into a rhythm, especially offensively. But I think our kids handled the adversity. They hunkered down, and hey, if we got to win this game 7-0, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, because some of the penalties were coming at times where the game was still, within a one-score strike. And so I was impressed with that. I love that, the discipline. I thought Louisville represented themselves fantastically, and I commend you on that, Coach. We're going to go into the plays here. We're going to start off with we got a lot of defensive clips to start here with. First is a tackle for a loss. Number 14, Cordis.
Yeah, Caden Cordis, with Owen Wilson being out, Caden's filled that role really, really well. Just a sophomore kid, just a hard nose, not afraid to stick his nose in anything, got a great feel for the game. He's a good blitzer, just kind of like Owen was, and he was playing a lot before Owen got hurt. But just, a fun player to watch on Friday nights. He actually had 4 tackles for loss in the game.
There were plenty of tackles for loss. That was the one that right off the bat that looked great. It looked like he knew the play that the offense called.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to a sack here. Beard had a couple sacks. I think he had some help on some. I think this is one of them right here.
Yeah, Jake's a guy that came up for football for the first time for us as a senior here. Just doing a great. This is McCroby, I think, getting the sack on that one from the other edge. But Beard forced the issue there, made the quarterback step up, and Beard finished it off. But both those guys are doing a great job. On Beard's playing some tight end on offense. McCroby's playing, starting to guard and then filling in on defense. So both those guys did a great job, and to be able to get a sack with just rushing 3, it just shows what kind of development those guys are having and getting better every week.
Yeah, looked great. We got a big run coming up here by Gabe. As always, he's usually good for breaking a few of these.
Yeah, when things aren't going perfectly, he's always a surefire guy to try to get the ball in his hands. He's one of our better runners, so giving him an option to throw the screen out there in the bubble, and then getting him some extra blockers there to take advantage of how, the numbers that we have in the box to run. And he understands those things really well and sets up the blocks really well by setting up to throw those screens or looking one way or the other.
He does have a knack for doing that. And then his cuts and moves that he makes, he usually puts himself in a good position.
He does, yeah.
We're going to go back to another sack here. And I think this one actually was Beard that got this one around the edge.
Yeah, so drop back pass. Their starting quarterback was injured, so we knew kind of we make him hold the ball a little bit, rush 3 guys, and Beard does a great job right here, kind of feeling pass, getting back outside to contain the quarterback, condensing the pocket, and then when he wanted to escape, he's a wrestler, so that's a great takedown move right there. You can see that.
That's Tressel always said he loved having defensive linemen wrestle.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to another tackle for loss here on a jet on the other side of the field. I think it's a linebacker slicing through here.
Yeah, this is Colton Doherty, who was our team player of the game in this game. He had 15 tackles, pass breakup, TFL. So just, we got lined up a little bit wrong here. He was on the wrong side, but we got him over there late and just read the play perfectly and able to get that one for a loss.
Yes, that helps. All right, then we got the next play is like a team tackle for a loss. It's hard to tell who it was, but swarming defense here.
Yeah, so trying to run a little bit of that, option type look right there, faking the dive and trying to get the quarterback outside. That's what we preach every single day in practice is 11 hats running to the football, making sure that we're using good technique and leverage. I think that's Cordis again right there, getting the tackle for loss, but just aggressive guys getting to the football.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so then we're going to go to a little bit of a scramble drill. Gabe does a little scrambling, gets the ball out to I think Candle.
Yeah, I mean this is a great job, great protection to start with. Gabe's first couple options weren't there, but this is one of Gabe's strengths is when not putting the ball in a risky situation. So he kind of held on the ball a little bit, and then he does a great job always keeping his eyes down the field and moving around, using his feet. And Canton is I said if I had a Division I offer for a guy that is great at scramble drill in the pass game, he always seems to find the best spot to be when Gabe's kind of running around and the play breaks down.
Yeah, and Gabe extends that play. Defensive breakdowns. It's like the old Big Ben.
That's tough as a defense because you got the play stopped, right, and then the guy gets out of the pocket and shifts around. And he's running back and forth and able to keep the ball, keep his eyes downfield, and find guys. And it's been one of some of our biggest plays of the season have come on those type of plays.
So we're going to follow this up with another pass by Gabe. Good looking ball here.
Again, keeping his eyes downfield. Great job by Luke Seaman right there. We're just kind of running switch verticals. Luke feels that he's getting out of the pocket. Deep routes, come back to the ball. Did a great job finding the sideline right there.
He found that nice spot.
Yep, nice little soft spot right there. You can see the defender's eyes were back on the quarterback right there. So this was a big play because this was second and like 20, and we were able 25 maybe, and we were able to pick up a first down on that play. Right
there. The huge. All right, so now this is beautiful. This is a touchdown pass to Quinn in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, so kind of putting the formation of the boundary. They were kind of always favoring the three receivers, so just getting Quinn a one-on-one matchup right there. Did a great job setting up the route, understanding the space that he had outside of him. Great timing throw here by Gabe. Catch, get your feet set. Really stepped into the throw here, and he's got a guy barreling down on him there too. And just a perfect ball right there. And Quinn caught one that would clearly had a foot down in bounds earlier in the game that they called out of bounds. But a couple big catches by Quinn.
We could have created a whole highlight list of plays that got called back and maybe a little bit out of bounds or something like that. But there's a lot of other big plays. So we're going to go back to Gabe here. Another night where he has a tremendous punt.
Yeah, and this has become a weapon, and when we're at midfield or even when we're backed up, I always tell our play caller Tori Burek to, hey, we can punt here. We're really good at punting. We can flip the field. We got a good defense. We're playing good defense. There's nothing wrong with getting a big punt right there, swinging the field and playing the field position game.
That's going back to Tressel again. One of his favorite sayings was, "Every series that ends in the kick is a good series."
For sure.
All right, so here we go. Our last one is DeMarzio had a nice night running the football.
Yeah.
And this is a clip that we have of him tearing up through the middle.
Yeah, I thought he ran really, really hard, seeing holes, getting behind his pads, keeping those legs churning, getting the extra yardage there. I thought that was one of his best games in terms of running the ball.
He hits the hole well and then breaks tackle and then drags people.
Yeah, gets probably an extra 10 to 12 yards right there after first contact. And, that's what he's capable of doing. And, without Owen being in there, to share the load, he's got to carry that and make those type of plays.
Well, Coach, the last home game you had, you brought a undefeated team into the stadium. And we're coming back home again. And you've got another undefeated team coming into Louisville. Canfield is bringing a 6-0 football team in. What are we looking at this week?
Canfield's a very talented team. They're solid everywhere across the board, right? They're really well coached. They run some really good schemes. They're good on special teams. They're good on offense. They're good on defense. So a great challenge for our guys to go out and play a team that, we had on the ropes a year ago, right? And turn the ball over for a touchdown late in the game. So our guys know what kind of game this is going to be. It's going to be a 4-quarter game. They like to run the ball. We want to run the ball. So it's, we got to play our best football game to come out with a victory. And we can't make the same mistakes of penalties like we did last week. So that's been the message all week. We changed up the practice schedule a little bit this week to kind of just bring in a little bit more focus on, offense, defense, instead of splitting practice. We're really focused on offense for a day, defense for a day, situational football for a day. Kind of what we did a year ago. So we're excited about the challenge, right? And now it's a big game. Our guys have some experience in a big game, right? And we didn't play very good in the first one, but I think that experience is something you don't get until after you need it most.
You're right.
So we're excited about the opportunity. That's a really good football team, and they're deservedly ranked really high, and so it's a lot of respect to their team, but I'm expecting our guys to come ready to play and show our home crowd that we learned from our lessons from against Hoover, and we got to play a 4-quarter football game.
Yeah, it's exciting. Another big game in the stadium. Another perfect night for football. Going to be a little crisp, hot day and a crisp night. Going to be a lot of fun. Hear the pads cracking, see the smoke from the different fires around the stadium, people tailgating and that kind of thing. Just a great night to be in Louisville. Again, excited about that opportunity for you guys to have another shot at sending a team that's undefeated home with a loss.
Yeah, it's a playoff game, right? And we want to win. We want to get in the playoffs. We want to win playoff games. Sorry.
That's the kind of people we're going to face.
Yeah, these are the teams we're going to face, and we got to be able to come out and play our best games.
And they're sitting, I think, number 1 in their region, Division III.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so this is great, Coach. Again, I appreciate everything you're doing. You're doing a great job. You got the Leopards at 5-1 through the first 6 weeks of the season, heading into the last 4 games. I can't believe we're even saying that we're heading into week 7 of the high school football season.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Flies by.
It's starting to feel like fall now. So it's good.
The leaves are coming down.
Best time of year.
Coach, again, thank you for joining us tonight. I know you have a very busy schedule. I think, honestly, I was going to say something about that tonight, too. People don't realize how many obligations the head football coach has, that you go to work at, this is no pity party, but you go to work at, 7 o'clock in the morning and you get home at dark.
Yeah, and then, there's sacrifice with your family, a lot of time that's put in, but, this is what, us as coaches have been called to do. And
I always thought it's your second family.
It is. And, we love these kids like they're our own. And I would, we would feel as coaches very bad if we didn't do everything in our power to put these kids in a situation to be successful and set an example of what hard work looks like. And so, it's fun for us, right? It's not a job. So we really enjoy what we do. And, glad we're finally seeing some payoff from the work that's put in from these guys, for the last 3 years. And, it's a blessing to be in the situation that we're in.
Absolutely, Coach. Again, thanks for joining us tonight. And thank you for joining us for Coaches. Now it's a blooper reel. Kappas Coaches Corner on YSN Live.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.